This migration presentation is about Rwanda's refugees. Rwanda is a sovereign state in Central Africa. Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo border it. Rwanda's economy is based mostly on subsistence farm agriculture, with a geography dominated by mountains in the west. The Rwandan genocide began on April 6, 1994, lasting for 100 days. From this, a forced migration of the Tutsi people occurred. Forced migration occurs when a person is forced from his or her home or country, especially by war or revolution. Rwanda's population of 7 million was composed of three main ethnic groups: the Hutu people, the Tutsi people, and the Twa. The Hutu make up about 85% of the population, while the Tutsi 14% and the Twa 1%. The Hutu and the Tutsi share a common past. When Rwanda was first settled, the people who lived there raised cattle, and those who owned the most cattle were called the Tutsi people, while everyone else was called Hutu. In 1894, when the Germans colonized Rwanda, these terms took on a racial role. They viewed the Tutsi people as having more European characteristics, such as lighter skin and a taller build. Therefore, they put Tutsis in roles of responsibility. This slide shows the physical differences of the three main ethnic groups. After World War I, the Belgians took over control and further solidified the categories of Tutsi and Hutu. All leadership positions were assigned to the Tutsi, although they only made up about 15% of the population. This greatly angered the Hutu people. The Belgians then let the Hutus be in control of the government, upsetting the Tutsi people. Hutu extremists had taken over the government, blamed the Tutsis for the assassination of the president, and begun fighting. A series of Hutu rebellions took place in attempts to restore Hutu rights. Violence spread greatly as women were raped and Tutsis were tortured and killed. Due to the fact that the government had the names and addresses of almost all Tutsis living in Rwanda, the killers could go door to door killing the Tutsis. This push factor forced people out of their homes in Rwanda, throwing them into rivers and into their neighboring countries. Before the genocide, there had been a civil war with multiple rebel groups fighting for power. On April 9, 1994, the massacre at Gikondo occurred. Hundreds of Tutsis were killed in the Palatine Missionary Catholic Church. Since the killers were only targeting the Tutsi, the Gikondo massacre was the first clear sign that a genocide was occurring. The push factors during the genocide came quickly, as the Tutsis were trying to make it to Tutsi-controlled areas so that they would be safe or completely leaving the country. Violence was the main push factor during the genocide. During the time between 1960 to 1994, refugee settlements were established in Uganda, Tanzania, and Congo Zaire to house Rwandan refugees. The host governments allocated land to refugees with the goal that the refugees would become self-sufficient and international aid assistance would be withdrawn. Women fled to Gisenyi town, then they crossed the border into Goma in Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. Shortly before the genocide, Tutsi refugees in Uganda were forming the Rwanda Patriotic Front. Their aim was to overthrow Habyarimana and secure their right to their homeland. As soon as it became apparent that the RPF was victorious, about 2 million Hutus fled to Zaire. The presence of Hutus in what is now the Democratic Republic of Congo has led to years of conflict there, causing many deaths. 1.4 million civilians fled to the Democratic Republic of Congo, then to Zaire. Thousands died of waterborne diseases. The United States treated the genocide as if it wasn't actually a genocide. The U.S. refused to provide requested material aid to Rwanda. In the events that took place after the genocide, many government officials in the community mourned over the loss of many and were surprised about the world's obliviousness to the situation that could have prevented the massacre from taking place?